been thinking about the protests and what we've been doing for the past 8, 9 years, and how everything is panning out. And it seems that the protests are getting a lot more energy. Now, you can absolutely guarantee that the mainstream media, the government, the police are going to do everything they can to discredit the protests and discredit the protesters. Tonight we had a protest down in the town I'm in. Vehicle drove at some of the protesters. You'll not say anything about that on the news. But if the boot was on the other foot and the protesters went mad and wrecked something, you can absolutely guarantee that'd be all over the media. So what we've got to do is we've got to have a coherent plan of peaceful protest and civil disobedience, because that's what worked for the civil rights movement in the United States of America. Peaceful civil disobedience. And a lot of the laws that have been passed at the minute, particularly on hate speech and so-called hate speech, it's called speaking the truth, are draconian in the extreme. Two years in prison for sharing something on social media that might not be true and might cause somebody harm, whatever that means. Okay? That's what's coming down the road. We've got the Islamophobia bill coming down the road, this definition of Islamophobia. And why is that so serious? Because the definition of Islamophobia says it talks about Islamophobia being a form of racism, right? Now, as far as I can tell, Islam is a religion and not a race. Yes, the majority of Muslims are probably not white, but the majority of people in the world aren't white. So it's just completely nonsense to call it a form of racism. Islam is an ideology, it's a religion. But I think what we've got to realize is we go down this path of peaceful civil disobedience, we are going to get arrested. We are going to get our lives turned upside down. Some people may go to prison. Some people may actually pay with their lives, because when you try and do something peacefully and it's against the state, they don't care whether it's done peacefully. They care that it's having results and they want to stop you getting those results. And I can tell you something now. This state that we're living under, and not just under Starmer, it's been like this since before Blair, since Major, if we're brutally honest. That's how far back this goes. They want to drive a coach and horses through our freedom and civil liberties. They hate everything that's British, whereas we love everything that's British. So we've got to realize that we are in the fight of our lives. This is the battle of our lifetime. What happened tonight in Bangor is an indication of what's to come. Peaceful civil disobedience followed by a violent reaction. That guy didn't care if he killed anyone when he drove into that crowd tonight. I saw his face when he drove the car at me. He didn't care. He wasn't interested in the outcome. And that is what we have to be prepared for. We have to realize that the forces that will come against us will be sinister, will be violent, and will do anything they can to stop us achieving our aims. And our aim is to save our culture, save the future for our children and our grandchildren, and save our country from savagery. Look at the stuff that we've seen in the last weeks. The attacks on little girls, the just horrendous footage of indecency on a train. I mean, this is what the people that are coming into our country are. This is what they are. The illegals, these criminal migrants, let's call them what they are, criminal migrants. Because the first thing they do when they set foot on our shores is commit a crime, because they're coming here illegally. They are wreaking havoc. Knife crime, assaults on women, assaults on little girls, men getting stabbed. We've got a real problem. And the question's got to be, are you in a position where you can sit back and ignore it? If, there's that old lefty saying, silence is violence, is very, very true. If you do nothing, if you see evil and you do nothing, then you're taking part in that evil. You're acquiescing to it. You're allowing that evil to happen. And I'm not prepared to do that. I don't want to go to prison. I don't want to be injured or killed or any of that. I would much rather live a nice, quiet life. I'm 57 years old. I've paid my taxes all my life. I was in the military. Try to do my best for my family, for my country. But the country is completely and utterly turning us over. So we've got to take a stand. And we've got to take a stand knowing that we may well pay a price. Look at Tommy Robinson. Look at the price Tommy's paid. And again, always on trumped up charges, always trying to take him out of the picture. And you know when the net's closing because you can feel it. And I'm not going into any more detail than that, but you know when the net's closing. But I'm not afraid of what's coming because I know that I'm on the right side of history and I know God's on our side. And that's the most important thing. God is on our side because we cannot have an evil ideology taking over our country. One of the things Tommy said on his interview with Dan Wootton, and this, I mean, it's an amazing interview. If you haven't seen it, get on and see the Dan Wootton interview with Tommy. It's absolutely incredible. But this really stuck out. And he was talking about when he met the Bishop of Pontefract in 2012, whenever it was. So he sits down with this bishop. It's all the lads from the EDL and all these Diobandi clerics. And the Bishop of Pontefract says to Tommy, we've got to have you sitting down with these people because MI5 and MI6 have told us that the Diobandi are the future of the United Kingdom. If you understood what the Diobandi were, right? If you understood the poisonous well that is Diobandism, and if you understood that they provide the cannon fodder or provided the cannon fodder for the Taliban in Afghanistan from their madrasas radicalizing people, it is a radical conservative sect of Islam. There used to be a BBC documentary you could find on YouTube. It was on the BBC iPlayer as well, but guess what? It's disappeared. And it was about the Diobandi and what they were about. But they're not our friends. They are not going to be wanting to see Christianity preached in every corner of this country. They're not going to want to see women have freedoms. They're not going to want to allow gay rights. So whether you're coming from a Christian point of view, whether you're coming from a liberal point of view, you've got to realize that we have people in our country that want to destroy our country and want to destroy us. There's a Diobandi mosque within 10 miles of where I'm sitting right now in Northern Ireland. I'm not going to say where it is. But there's a Diobandi mosque within 10 minutes of, I could drive there in 10 minutes. Now, what's been preached in that mosque? What's been preached in all the Diobandi mosques up and down the country? We don't know because we don't have eyes on them. And the security services are neglecting their duty to surveil these mosques and listen to what these radical preachers are saying. And I believe at the highest level of the British government, there's been a decision made to surrender to extremist Islam because they are cowards. They will not face it down. They will not face the Islamists down. They would rather have Sharia law in parts of this country or even in the whole country than face the conflict that will have to happen between the state and Islamists and extremist sects like the Diobandi and the Salafis. And they would much rather just say, do you know what? Nothing we can do about it. We'll just let it go. And that's the country we live in. That's the country we live in. So, what do we do? Well, we keep doing what we're doing. We keep building this movement peacefully with reasoned arguments, with peaceful protests, with peaceful civil disobedience. You know, there's no shame in going to prison for civil disobedience. There's no shame in being a political prisoner. We're not talking about doing anything violent towards people. We're not talking about any criminality. We're talking about civil disobedience. And if they start locking us up for civil disobedience, so be it. Do I want to go to prison at 57 years old? Absolutely not. Do I want to be violently attacked? Have people try and run me over? Absolutely not. But my children and my grandchildren I owe it to them. I owe it to their futures. I'm almost an old man. Some people might say I'm an old man. I'm almost an old man. But I'm standing here saying, just like Martin Luther did in the 15th century, here I stand. I can do no other. So help me God. I'm not going to allow my beautiful country to be surrendered to Islam. Never. It's never going to happen. And we've all got to have that steel, and we've all got to have that backbone. We say we're not going to just put our feet in the air. We're not going to just put our protest down. We're not going to stop doing this. We're going to keep doing this until we turn the tide. And I want all extremist mosques closed. I want all extremist imams deported. I want all extremists that want to take over this country and turn it into an Islamic state deported. That's what I want. And that's what we've got to see. Otherwise, our country will be completely lost. We will lose. And let's get this right. Who's responsible for this, right? Who's responsible for this? I'll tell you who's responsible. John Major, Tony Blair, Gordon Brown, Call Me Dave Cameron, Theresa Robocop May, bumbling Boris with his Boris wave of migrants. I can't remember who came after Boris. Was it Theresa? Was it that woman that's now a right-wing nutcase, according to media? Or was it Dishi Rishi? I can't remember. But anyway, the bottom line is this. We have got to stand up. We can't trust the Tories, you can't trust Labour, you can't trust any of the progressive liberal parties. The scumbag parties over here, Sinn Féin, Alliance, SDLP, sorry. What's the other one? The UUP, total wrong. And let's get it right. The DUP are just the same. There's no difference. They try and make out they're right wing and they're conservative and they're biblical and they're Christian, but they're allowing all this to happen. They're signing off on it all because they're getting a big fat paycheck from Stormont. So everything has to change. Everything has to change. I want it to happen peacefully. We need to get control of the government. We need a political party in Parliament that is going to deal with all this stuff. And it needs to be dealt with. Stop the boats, deport the illegals. That's the first two things. Stop the boats, stop illegal migration, then deport them all. 1.2 million. Find the extremists, those ones that want to destroy the country by force. Arrest them, lock them up, deport them. Then find the conservative, fundamentalist Muslims that are preaching hate and are preaching against everything that our beautiful country stands for. Lock them up, deport them. That's what needs to happen. And we need a political party that can do that. And the only one I can see is Advance UK. As much as I like UKIP and as much as I like Nick and I like what they've done, they ain't going to have the clout to do that. It's not going to happen. So Advance UK need to be the party that does that. And I know people that are involved in Advance UK at senior levels, and I know that they will do what needs to be done. So that's it, guys. Watch the Tommy Robinson video on Dan Wootton. It's absolutely fantastic. Watch my video of me having a tussle with a white vehicle of some sort tonight. But yeah, we've got to keep going, guys. No matter what the cost, we've got to keep going. We've got to keep fighting. See you all soon.